If you know anything about trains, then Cajon Pass needs a little introduction, but for those who don't know, Cajon Pass refers to the railroad line owned by the BNSF and Union Pacific going over the San Gabriel mountain range starting at West Colton. From there, you can take two routes going to the summit, but after that point, they split into two directions, one going northwest of Mojave and the other going northeast of Barstow. It's well known as one of the most challenging sections of mainline in the entire US, with brutal yet necessary gradients being built to crest the summit's elevation of 3,823 feet. Today, we're going to explore how operations in the area would have been in the steam era. Back during World War II, the line between West Colton and Mojave was jointly run by the Santa Fe and Union Pacific, but sometimes trains from the SP would be diverted into that neck of the woods. The most presence the Southern Pacific saw on Cajon Pass around this time was when the Cab 4s were employed on helper service, being stationed at either San Bernardino or Hesperia. The first layer of complexity as far as operations went was how much more complicated steam locomotives are to operate than diesels. Nowadays, BNSF or UP just throw units at a contest until they can make it to the summit. But back then, engineers had to worry about maintaining boiler pressure by finding the perfect combination on the reverser and the throttle, while at the same time being able to not lose too much speed. Difficulty depended on which engine was being used. The newer designs at the time, like the Northerns, didn't have as much trouble on the trip up the mountain, but older designs like Consolidations and Atlantics and 10-wheelers had a very rough go at it, often needing to be double-headed. Once making it over the top, there was the issue of going down. Downhill, heading westbound to Cajon, it was a steep 3% grade the majority of the way. Any train that lost control on this section was pretty much fucked. And that's why there's been so many runaways on the line over the years. We all know about the ones in 1989, 94, and 96. But even before that, there were more minor incidents. There was yet another runaway in 1973, which my buddy Zach made a video on a while ago. Crews would also have to grow accustomed to the running conventions of the area. Unlike anywhere else in the country, all trains ran left-handed between San Bernardino and Frost, opposed to the right-hand side. This was because the uphill track was easier to tackle on that side, only being 2.2%. Trains changed back to right-hand running via the Frost flyover just west of Victorville. Cajon was always very busy, but during the war it was especially bad. Troop trains bound for LA and San Francisco were a common sight. The assigned helpers for the pass were always doing something, so most trains going uphill already had to be double-headed from wherever they came from, otherwise they would run the risk of stalling. But the locomotives that were double-heading weren't safe either. The tunnels would become a major choking hazard for the crews due to all the smoke being produced. This problem would be cut back on with the advent of more diesels on the system that same decade. The weather was another factor. The Mojave Desert is a common place for small brush fires to start due to the sheer heat of the summer months, with conditions reaching up to 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Extreme heat can cause metal to warp, thus what happened to the rails on some occasions. In more modern times, BNSF ran a study and concluded that since 1996, there has been over 20 instances of the rails buckling. There hasn't been a recorded case of any derailments happening because of it, but we can concur that it happened in the earlier years of the route's history, since prior to 1968, jointed rail was the standard for US railroads. These types of rails were more vulnerable to thermal heat expansion. So there's a little science lesson for you. Now that I think about it, the maintenance crews must be working their asses off up there. Now, how did the Santa Fe and Union Pacific fix all these problems? Well, I really hate to say it, but the introduction of diesels were a godsend for lines like these. More and more B units could be attached to the locomotive until the train moved. The dynamic braking systems they came with really came in handy when it was time to go downhill. Cajon Pass was one of the first sections of the Union Pacific system to be fully dieselized, but the steamers made a brief comeback in 1950 on helper service. ATSS steam engines held on until 1952. That year, the last revenue-earning steam-hauled service made its voyage in August, with the 2900 Northern at the head. The final hurrah came in February of 1955 with a farewell to steam fan trip coming from LA went over Cajon Summit. It's unknown what engine it was, but given what was left on the system at the time, it was most likely a Texas type or some kind of Northern. And that's a brief explanation of why mountain railroading is so damn difficult. It always has been, no matter what form of motive power was being used or what part of the continent we're talking about, whether it be the Appalachian region or the high deserts of Cali. But the thing about railroaders is that they're really crafty, and one way or another, they'll make sure that whatever needs to get somewhere will get there, as long as it doesn't take up too much time. Cajon Pass isn't the only route like this. There's many other locations on many different railroads just like it, if not even more demanding, like the line to Soldier Summit, Downer Pass, and Saluda. May it rest in peace. Any further information I can say to close this off has already been explained multiple times by a ton of author creators, so I'll take my leave now. This is Fred Thurman signing off. God bless you all.